there, and welcome to this week's media news with me, Gareth O'Connor. Just going to kick things off this week with I look at a few brands that got it wrong. And I always think you should never try and prosper for other people's misery. But here's a couple for you. I will let you be the judge. American Apparel, during Hurricane Sandy, had a sale for 38 hours, 20% of everything, for those people just in the Sandy path. Not the smartest thing to do, I must be honest with you, when people obviously, one, don't have broadband, fear for their lives, people are dying, destruction and damage is being wreaked across all of the states. Still, they figured it was a good idea. Of course, the public didn't, and they were, quite rightly in my mind, blasted on social media, so Twitter mainly, and also Facebook. But a lot of people obviously were complaining, you know, it is... some people are saying they should hire a new marketing director, maybe a new head of social. But a lot of people, you know, people have died, and you shouldn't really be putting up a Sandy sale. I mean, it was hashtag Sandy sale. It's pretty bad. But of course, did nothing good for their reputation, and of course, they did nothing to apologise, which is crazy. But they were not alone. No, Urban Outfitters had another one, and their code was enter all soggy, and you can get some money off while the storm blows. Again, not sensible. The Gap, we've had a few social blunders in a time, but they came up with another one that said, all impacted by Sandy, stay safe. Well, that's nice. We'll be doing lots of Gap.com shopping today, how about you? Not sensible to post that from in New York. Of course, they did apologise afterwards, saying that they were only trying to tell people to stay safe and remind them to stay indoors. Not the best way of going about it, though. You should just have said that in the first place. But there you go. Public officials also embrace social, but they did it more for good. And Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube were kind of the best. But they posted, you know, help, advice, regular updates, announcements, images, videos, which of course is all for good. And one governor got sent over 800 messages in 3 days. But again, it's using it for good and it's timely. I mean, social is a great way to get to people quickly. And Google did very well also. They very quickly put a platform together which of course gave people all the information. Of course they were just aggregating and pulling this in from all the web, very much like they would with search. But it was very good and a great use and a very quick response from them in a time of crisis. But again, it goes to show the power of social when things go wrong, and also the strength that social is as a tool. Pinterest makes into the top 50. In the last sort of year, obviously everyone now is talking about Pinterest, but it has now made it into the top 50 websites in the US. Just creeped in there at number 50. Google's still leading the charge, of course, with search, and of course YouTube and Google Network, of course, helps. Followed by Microsoft and all their sites around with MSN. Then Yahoo, and then of course Facebook, AOL, Amazon, Wikipedia, Glam Media, CBS, and Apple make up the top 10. Is your media spend aligned with time spent with said channel? It's a good question. For many people, it's not. It does make sense, though, you know, where consumers are spending most of the time. You know, your media spend should be allocated accordingly, you would think. In most cases, anyway. But some new research that has come from Kleiner Perkins. This has kind of been looking at, you know, things, media spend in many different countries. But they have sort of said that, you know, for things like television and online, it's pretty even now. I mean, TV, 43% of spend. In this country, it's probably closer to sort of 50-60% of spend. And digital, again, is kind of close. The markets they looked at, 26% of time spent, 22% of budget. There's a few things, though, and I guess this is very similar to here, where things are certainly, there are definitely big imbalances. Mobile, of course, is one of them, and I've spoken about mobile at great length. And mobile certainly offers up a lot of opportunities for advertisers to push. It doesn't have to be big brand, like don't just take your TVC and stick it on a mobile and think you're done. But it's another tool, when you get it right, for pushing brand messages direct to customers' hands and pockets. But of course, at the moment, it looks like mobile spend is around 1%, but time spent is 10%. But of course, it's only going to get more from mobile as people spend more and more time on mobile devices. And of course, some of that is in conjunction while simultaneously using other mediums like television. But there's certainly an imbalance there. And print is the other one, which is massive, because 25% of spend goes against newspapers, but only 7% of consumers' time is spent with newspapers. So again, certainly an imbalance there. But of course, the big thing really is consumer engagement and what sort of attention people give to different channels. This is where, of course, you have to find that balance, and I can plan media accordingly, and obviously use the right media channel for your message and what you're trying to get across. But certainly, I think, for me, disparities really come certainly in the digital, mobile, and cinema space. Really, I mean, certainly from a branded point of view, cinema is a wonderful environment that people do not utilize enough. Google now set to take on Apple and Amazon. Yes, indeed. Google has now finally got Time Warner on board. So they now have all the big four, so Time Warner, Sony, Universal, EMI. And of course, all the big movie houses too are also on board. So from this month on Google Play, which I guess is Google's iTunes platform, you will now not just be able to buy games, you will also be able to buy music and movies. Good for them. A simple idea is always a good way to get a good idea across. Simple. Simplicity is very difficult to do. When you get it, it's good. And I know this is not the first time this has been done. A nice idea, but the reason why I'm showing that more really is that people always talk of interactive billboards and talk, you need to be digital, you need to have your mobile phone connected to them, people need to download content and all sort of thing, but it doesn't have to be. And that was a good way, of course, of getting people to engage with the billboard and, of course, give people something to take away, a coupon, discount of product. Closing the loop. A bleak picture for newspapers? Well, I guess there's a lot of talk over the last while of newspapers circulation declining as more and more people move online. But magazine sector recorded pretty good readership increases in the latest Nielsen research, but newspapers haven't fared so well. Magazines, of course, in New Zealand, people love them. More magazines per capita than anywhere else in the world. But newspapers certainly haven't fared quite so well. And overall, there's been a decline in total readership for all dailies and metropolitan titles. As a collective, there have been some success stories, but the majority have seen declines. Those success stories, though, were the Herald and Sunday, and the Waikato Times saw the biggest gains, but they saw big gains. We're talking the 20-30% gains, which is great for them. But it's not all bad. I mean, certainly they are losing circulation in the print space, but like I said, a lot of that is moving to the digital space. And APN are going great guns in the digital space at the moment, especially in the mobile space. So they were very quick to get on the iPad and smartphone apps. But they found that their traffic has increased 46% in the last year. And of course, they were doing very well last year in this space, but a 46% increase is very good. Stuff and Fairfax, their mobile traffic has grown a massive 96% in the last 12 months, which is huge. And iPad traffic was up 117%. Which is fantastic. When you think over 500,000 Kiwis now have access to a tablet, it's not surprising that the growth has been there. But of course, it just begs to think. Start thinking about utilizing how you can utilize tablets to reach a more discerning, higher disposable income audience, which of course for many brands is who they're after. But it's a similar picture all over. Look at the Times in the UK, look at the Guardian in the UK, look at the New York Times. Of course, they're all introducing paywalls, but they've found that they're registering double. I mean, the New York Times registered a doubling of its audience in the last 12 months. And the vast majority of that, of course, are people who are paying. If the content is good, people will happily pay. Amex doing something for young professionals. I'll show you a bit of this ad because it really is more like a music video than an ad. So I won't play the whole 3.5 minutes, but I'll give you a little taster. But they've done it. They're launching a mentoring scheme to help young professionals. So anyone who has an Amex card who is a young business person starting off in the world, they have a mentoring scheme for them. And here's a video to get their attention.
Tell me I'm the only one, that I'm funny and beautiful and in denial. You call me honey, you burn it just the way I like, but I don't buy it, no. I think you're smiling just a little bit too much. Young professionals at work, neon lights that make you look tired even if you're not. Sending emails feel fine. Young professionals at
So of course, reaching a younger audience, they've made a piece of content recording that will reach young audience. It gets better, you get dancing girls and all that sort of thing coming in. But I'm just showing you this because I think businesses who do more in a social sense, or in a social concept, so do more than just provide products and services that they offer, they do more to help society. And of course, Amex has done an awful lot in this space. Of course, they had Small Business Saturday in the US, which has been hugely successful and now is ongoing. But it's a good way of giving things back. Don't just give people what you offer, give something a little extra. Give them additional value. I shall move on from this now. But it's really the importance of a social purpose and for a brand having one. It could be like ASB doing St. John's Ambulance or Westpac doing a helicopter. But always do something that puts more back into the community. And it can always start with just baby steps. But social ambition really does help complement business profits because it do something good for society. And normally you will reap the benefits of this. In 2011, Harvard Business Review, and you can't really argue with Harvard Business, they said it is possible, and they've said that companies that perform best over time build a social purpose into their operations that is as important as their economic purpose. But it is giving people a value over and above the products and services you offer, doing something good for society. Having a social purpose gives companies a direction, and that gives everyone within the company a direction. It gives them a human interest, innovate against, create products create products people will actually buy, whilst motivating staff with a purpose they can believe in. All good for a company, but it's just worth thinking about. But certainly it can start off as baby steps. Not least, social purpose creates unexpected connections between like-minded companies, individuals, and institutions. It can open up so many more doors for a company and connect them with so many people who can actually further the goals of that company. Worth thinking about. ASOS gets a little creative. More and more of this, of course, ASOS is an online fashion retailer. Deliveries worldwide. But anyway, they've done this new thing where, of course, you play the video. You're not going to get the whole experience really here because the video I'm about to show you doesn't really give you the whole experience. But what it allows you to do is interact with this video when you see it in YouTube or go to ASOS. You can interact with the video and you can start to pin things you like, share them with your friends on Facebook, save them up so you can go and purchase them all later, put them all on a wish list. But it's a very nice way of using engaging content and social, all we can do to retail and purchase. Really nice idea, but do go into ASOS and have a look at it. It's probably worth looking at, but it's very cool. And then last thing for me, I know I finished with this last week, but hey, as Carat are helping out in November this year, here's some help in growing your own mo.
Hello, I'm classically trained actor and fine woodworker Nick Offerman. A few of you may know me as Ron Swanson from NBC's Parks and Recreation, but let's be honest, most of you know me for this. And this Movember, I'm here to instruct you on how to properly grow your very own. Developing my mustache required years of training. I brought it to Scotland, where sheep herders tamed its unruly I then studied with Tibetan monks who combed it like a Every day I washed it with cologne, whale oil, and dried it over a campfire of peat and turf. And the bulk of you will end this month with something atrocious on your lip. The rest of you will be passable, but in the spirit of awareness, I wanted to offer a few simple ideas of my own that can help a novice grow a full and thicker mustache. Hammer a nail. Send a regular handwritten letter. Capture a household bug, then set it free. Tolerate a crying baby. Smell wood. Move out of your parents' house. Gain the trust of a dog. Sweat. Eat a raw onion. Eat a raw onion. And finally, and most importantly, don't shave your upper lip. So get ready for the single manliest journey of your life. And be sure to tell your friends, this mustache is a Movember mustache.
Great cause. So all you men and all you ladies, get involved. Ladies, support your men. That's it from me. I will see you next week.